My name is Andrew, and I will be hosting today's webinar on Microsoft Teams. If we have yet to meet, I take care of the modern workplace at Ingram Micro, which spans across collaboration, security, and voice with Microsoft 365. In light of everyone now working from home, we wanted to make sure that you and your customers are familiar with how to use Microsoft Teams and what you can do to get them there in the first place. You might have seen some messaging go out from Microsoft and Ingram around free Teams and E1 trial licenses. So we'll cover how you can order those on the marketplace. Then I'll show you how you can look at your Teams usage analytics and identify which customers might have a high license count but low adoption of Teams. After that, we'll be joined by Darren Milton from Microsoft, who's going to take us through a demo of Teams. Darren actually trained Ingram Micro on how to use Teams, so you're in good hands. Finally, I'll let you know of a few new promotions we have as part of the Modern Workplace Accelerate program, and we'll have some time for questions at the end. So newly added to Microsoft and our marketplace, a free 6-month Office 365 E1 trial is now available. This was created in response to the coronavirus and the increased need for employees to work from home. I want to show you how you can find this on the marketplace. So firstly, log into your Cloud Marketplace account. From there, use the search bar to search for Office 365 E1 trial. You should see the trial license, which has a 6-month trial period and costs $0. Add this to your cart and head to the checkout, where you can adjust the license amount as needed. From there, you can choose your customer and provision it to the existing or new 365 tenant. We also have the Microsoft Teams trial available on the marketplace. This is a bare bones product and is designed for a Teams-only experience without mailbox functionality and other features that the E1 would include. Personally, I would use the E1 license over this, as you can offer them the full experience of Office 365. You can order the Teams trial in a similar way. Just search for Microsoft Teams Commercial Cloud Trial. I wanted to now talk about improving Teams adoption across your existing customer base. What most people might not be aware of is your license usage analytics in your Microsoft Partner Portal. I'm going to quickly show you how you can use this. First thing you want to do is sign into the Partner Portal at partner.microsoft.com. From there, you want to head to the Analyze tab and head to License Usage Analytics. After clicking on Office 365, it will run a report on your top customers and their usage across the different solutions. We're seeing extremely low adoption rate in Australia, so don't be surprised if your customers sit in the 1 to 20% range. You can also go into each customer to view their specific analytics and measure it over the course of a time period. You can also get really granular and see how employees are using Teams. For example, you can see if they're using the meetings functionality or just private chats. Once you have identified a customer that you want to adopt Teams, why not use the SMB Teamwork Workshop? This is a resource from Microsoft that includes different guides and tools to help you assess their business and see how ready they are for Teams. You can download it at aka.ms/SMB Teams Workshop. Using the Teamwork Workshop, you can do an assessment with a customer and start to build a roadmap. This is one of the assets in the Teamwork Kit and is over a 90-day period, but you can customize it based on the customer's size and requirements. This is a great way to keep engaged with the customers and show value with a project that is highly relevant right now. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Darren Milton from Microsoft, who is going to take you through a demo of Teams.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I really appreciate it, and thank you for having me today. So hi everybody, my name is Darren. I am a commercial trainer at Microsoft, and Andrew has obviously kindly invited me to give you a live demo within Microsoft Teams. Now it might be a little bit confusing. I'm Darren, but the person talking is actually Alex. He is my demo tenant where I'm able to give you a live demo for this. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Andrew, can you give me an okay that you can see all this?
Yep, looks good.
Fantastic to hear. Okay, so today's all about a discussion of how Microsoft Teams can help teams move forward from a disjointed team to a high performance team. So Microsoft Teams has been around for about 3 years now, but let's have a think about how teams are currently working. A lot of customers today, especially, some of the pain points that they're going through. So think about how they're working with everybody currently working from home. We see a lot of people, obviously they're further apart from each other. We want to make sure that they can still communicate closer together. And Microsoft obviously envisioned this to be all within one platform, which is obviously Microsoft Teams. Think about everything, how you're communicating with each other as well as with your partners today. Is that via email? Is that via an online chat function? Is that via an online meeting space? A lot of places can be quite disjointed because you've got one app for one thing, another app for another, and a third app or fourth app or a fifth app, depending on how you're doing this. Microsoft Teams brings all of this together, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. When you're talking about Microsoft Teams, as you can see here on my screen, we have a lot of different features incorporated there. Let's start on the left-hand side where we've got our hub space. We've got 5 different pillars. We've got activity, chat, Teams, calendar, and files. Now, depending on the license that you currently have, you may have the call feature, and Andrew's more than happy to go through that for you as well. Think about how we communicate and how notifications come through. Let's start with activity. We're very familiar with social media, how you get notifications come through from Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp, those sort of things. You get pinged all the time. Teams has that functionality as well. Here within my team, I have all my feed that will come up through here. Depending on how long you've been using Teams for, the feed actually extends even further. So you have everything that you have been mentioned in, maybe some new activity within that particular team that you're working within. And this is where you need where you can see all your activity has come through, and something that's important to you. So this is the first thing. When I wake up in the morning, I get my mobile phone because Teams is available on mobile. If you haven't got it already, make sure that if you're using Teams on PC, download our Microsoft Teams app on Apple or Android mobile and start utilizing it today. It's got some great features that are maybe exclusive to mobile, or also as using it as a great companion device really makes the communication easier across platforms and across devices, especially for those people who are always on the go and may not have a Wi-Fi or 4G connection on their PC. Next, underneath here, we have chat. Now, we're all familiar with how people communicate, whether it's through like WhatsApp or Facebook, that group chat or one-to-one chat functionality. Microsoft Teams obviously has that as well. So using the chat functionality, it's really up to you. You may be using it one-to-one to have a conversation with maybe myself and Andrew, or maybe you want to have a group chat with 3 or 4 or 5, 6 different people at once. Now, to utilize team chat, I'm going to create a new one. So to do that, I'm just going to click on the new chat button up the top here, and it's going to help me to start typing the name or the group. So if I want to talk with someone specifically, what I can do is start typing their specific name. So for instance, I'm going to start typing Adele, and then I can add multiple people, 25, 35, depending on how many people are incorporated in that team. Next, I'm going to type in Bianca. No, can't type myself in. I'll type in Alan, Megan. These are just people within this particular environment. And then I can start having a conversation down the bottom here. Now, conversations are however you want them to be. Hi, everyone. How are we all? Question mark. And now that has been, the chat functionality has started. Now, you may have heard a ping. I've actually got Megan herself up in one of my Teams online activities. So if you don't actually have the Teams app downloadable through office.com, you can actually download it directly through teams.com, or you can go to any web browser and go to Microsoft Teams and sign in and use the web-based functionality through here. Now, I've added some specific people and I've started having a conversation throughout Teams here. What I can actually do, you see that it's more rich than what you would find from other chat applications. We've got chat and we've got files. Now, files is very familiar to what we have with our OneDrive or maybe on PC, where I can actually share files directly with my peers or colleagues, or maybe a partner that I'm having a conversation with. So if I click on files here, I will click on my share file, and then I can share a file from my OneDrive or upload it directly from my PC. Now, these can be obviously your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF documents, even photos, anything that you have as a file, you can share this with your colleagues as well. But the chat functionality doesn't just be your normal chat. As you can see here, if I hover over my chat function, I've got very familiar reactions to the chat. So familiar, obviously, like Facebook, I can like it or I can love it, I can laugh, I can go, wow, I can go, I'm unhappy or sad or actually angry with this. So obviously it's not etiquette to like or love your own posts, but for this demo purpose, I'm going to start having a conversation. Now I'm just going to switch back to Megan here in my web tab. Here I can see that there's activity, and I can see that I've got a 1 symbol on my chat. Now Alex has added me to a chat with Adele, Alex, and obviously Andrew, Alan, and I can respond here. And I can add my little shortcuts through here, which is just a smiley face. Now going back to Alex in the Teams app, I can actually see here that Megan has responded, and I can give a thumbs up on her. Now, if you want, we can actually have more rich features down the bottom here. If I click on the A, this makes it more of a formal text. So if I want to write in an email context, I've got more text, familiar text features here, like bold, italics, underlining, strike through, highlighting, font color, font size, paragraph text, and formatting styles through here. I can actually make this an important message or urgent. Now, if you make it an important message, the message itself will be marked as important. Or if you mark it an urgent, maybe there's a team update, a new release, or something else that's happened. If you mark it as urgent, the recipients will be notified every 2 minutes for 20 minutes, making sure that what you sent them will be seen. So that's really important to see that there. Now we'll see about attachments. Once again, just like adding a file, you can actually add an attachment to a message. So I'm going to click that one down, and then it's OneDrive or folder. We also have emoticons, emojis. We have lots of different ones included in there. Now, if you're wanting a specific one that's not in there, a nice little shortcut built into Windows 10, if you press the Windows key and the full stop key, you'll actually see our rich emojis come up through here. So I can add in anything that we want, that we have through here. Maybe if we're having like a party, I can have a balloon and something along those sort of lines. Now, it doesn't stop there. We also are quite fun. We also have GIFs. All the GIFs are all the rage. They're like little silent movies. I can type whatever I want in through here, and then I can add those GIFs directly to my rich text feature. If you want to be creative, we also have memes. So I can actually create my own meme if maybe something happened at the office or while I was out and about and I wanted to create something. This is all very light and fun if you wanted to create this. If I click on this picture here, you can actually create a top caption and a bottom caption. So this is the fun part of Microsoft Teams. So adding a file, or if you want to create something, clicking on expanding from the Teams chat, I can hit on the plus sign, And this is where our tabs features come in. So maybe if you're in a finance team and you're working on a document, you can collaborate on that one document together because Microsoft Teams brings in Office 365 into that one platform of Teams. So I can share an Excel file, share a OneNote file, PowerPoint, all of our first-party applications. But as you can see down here, we also are working with a lot of third-party application providers and incorporating them directly into our Teams service. I know some people may be familiar with things like Trello or Jira, but there are some additional third-party applications that provide with education services as well. And I'll go further that when we break out into our team section. Now, this is really important where you can have one space for how to have everybody communicate in a very light and easy way to do things. Because rather than sending an email and clogging up people's email with having that conversation back and forth and sharing files, we find that a lot of things do actually get lost, and people and clogging up people's email address is, can be a little bit distracting from focusing on the core people that you're talking to. So having breaking that away from an email conversation into a Teams chat function makes it a lot easier and I guess a little bit more relaxed, which is quite good. But maybe if you started with us 4 people, but maybe we needed somebody else in, we can add additional people into our Teams chat. Just on the right-hand side here, we've got this people symbol +4. What I can do here is I can add or leave. I'm going to add somebody else in here, and that person is going to be, let's see if I can do Lydia. Yeah, I can add in Lydia, who's a product manager. If I can click in here, now you'll notice I can add I can select 3 different ones. Don't include chat history, include history for the past number of how many days. So I can actually select 4. I can actually select more than that. So it's up to between 1 to 999. So I'm just going to do it. I'm going to actually include all chat history and click on Add Lydia. Now, Lydia is going to get a notification that she's been added to a group chat. Now, if this chat itself is working on a specific project, I can actually rename this chat rather than having just specific people. I can actually give it a project name. So let's just change this to Project Alpha. On save, and you'll see that every time that I change something or edit or add somebody or change the name, we're getting little notifications up through here so people can actually see what's going on, which is really important for clarity across the project. So I've covered off Microsoft Teams activity, making sure that it's the first place that you go to see if there's any notification history, and I've covered off Teams chat where we can keep in one platform to have a rich conversation across the team, or maybe the project itself. Now, for those people who are wondering what these particular buttons up here do, obviously the first one is making a video call, or if you have the right license, then you can create an audio call from here. Now, for instance, if you've got an important update that you need to have a meeting right now, what I can do is I can click on schedule a meeting, or if I just click a video call right now, I'm not going to do it because I'm in Alex's Teams, and it will drop off the I'm in. But if you were to click on the video call, this will automatically call everybody and bring everybody into a meeting. If you want to schedule a meeting, down the bottom here, once again, we can schedule a meeting. Now, this incorporates everybody who's in that particular chat. I can add people that are optional. I can do Project Alpha update. I can actually see maybe it's today's date. Maybe I want to change that to be tomorrow's date. Wednesday's always good. And for me, 10:30 to 11:30 to 11 o'clock work. Now, it's also giving me some suggestions of the other people's calendar who's in our Teams chat. If I want to break this out, I should. So we've got some additional meetings through here. Looks like everybody's okay. I can add a specific channel. Now this will be incorporated with our teams themselves. Maybe you've got a team allocated to this specific project. If you do, fantastic, you can add it specifically to that channel. If you don't, then you can just keep it within the team chat. Maybe it's got a specific location. Maybe you want to have it at the cafe around the corner, or maybe having it as a Teams meeting. Right now, it's always going to be a Teams meeting, unfortunately. And as you can see here, we've got rich email formatting just down the bottom here for additional meetings. Now, as I mentioned before, if maybe you want to confirm that everybody can join this meeting at that particular time, at the top here, we've got Scheduling Assistant. This will give me an overview of everybody's calendar. Now, we've got Adele and Alan who are unknown, so I'm unsure whether they'll be able to accept this. And here I can also add additional locations and additional attendees. Now, as from what I'm aware, this works with everybody, so I'm going to send this meeting for tomorrow. Now, this will go directly into their calendars, and I'm just going to confirm that tomorrow Project Alpha update is in my calendar, which is built into Microsoft Teams through here. Now, you're aware that with Office 365 and Microsoft 365 that we incorporate a stream. So Andrew has recorded this particular call, and this will be uploaded directly to his Microsoft Stream account. And that is located just here if I wanted to have a quick shortcut. Now, within all teams, it's always about positive reinforcement or letting people know that they've done a really great job with what they're doing. Built into Microsoft Teams chat is praise. Now, if I click on the praise button, I can send praise to people. Now, what sort of praise I'm going to do? I'm going to say maybe a problem solver. We've all done a great work, so I'm going to add in Adele. Oops. Adele and Alan. And there's Lydia and Megan. Add this, like, great work, everyone. Really got through it all. Go on preview just to see how it works. So it's to doing a problem solver to everybody from me, and great everyone. I missed a word there. Clicking on send, and now that's going to notify everybody who's got that chat. As you can see, I'm just going to switch over to Megan again. Now Megan, there's an @ symbol. So if I click on activity, I'll see that Alex has mentioned me, and I can see that that has come through and I've been praised, and my name itself has been highlighted. Now, obviously, I'm going to love this one. And to respond to that, I'm going to click on saying @Alex, thank you so much for recognizing our hard work. Now, I made a mistake in spelling that, so I'm maybe a little bit embarrassed with the way that I have my spelling. If I click on the 3 dots, I can now edit what I've said. I can right click on this and click on recognizing. I can add additional features through here. Maybe I didn't finish and I preemptively pressed enter to send that message. If I click on the tick, then I can add that from here. Now, incorporated into all of our team services, we also have accessibility features. If anybody hasn't heard of, Immersive Reader is Microsoft's own accessible reader, where it takes out a lot of our noise and just concentrates on the rich text that's on there. What you can also see through here is I can share this particular chat or wording to Outlook. I can delete this because I am the owner of that particular text. As I mentioned before, I can edit it. And if it's really important and I want to save this for later, maybe my team leader has shared an important document and import an email that they've shared within the team, I can save this message. So I can click on Alex's and I'm going to save this message. And that has been saved. Now, if I want to find out all my saved messages from here, on Megan, I can click on the name, I can click on saved, but we also have our search command up through here. If I /, this gives me all the different features that a / and our command bar helps. So if I type in saved, if I click on saved, you see on the left here, this is giving me all the saved messages that I have personally saved for when I want to read later. That's a really cool feature from here. Now I'm just going to switch back to Alex here. to continue forward. Alrighty. So that's a lot about Teams chat. As you can see now, having a Teams chat has a lot of functionality built into it and enriches the team environment where they can have a great conversation that's rich, fun, light, and important for that particular project through here. If there are any questions, feel free to chuck that into the chat and I'm happy to answer them. If not, then by all means, I'm more than happy to continue. Alrighty, so moving forward, we have Teams. Now, Microsoft Teams is all about team and collaboration. On the left-hand side here, these are the three teams that Alex is involved within. So we've got our retail, our Market 8 project team, and our sales and marketing team. Now, these are the ones that we set up. What Teams is really, what I really want to bring to light is that you shouldn't have 20 or 30 different teams that you're involved with. Within Teams, I'm going to show you how to properly set up a team so then you can make the most out of it rather than having death by teams in a way, because we don't want you to be moving away from Outlook and into Microsoft Teams and having 30 teams that you're involved with. I myself involved with that 15 because I work with a worldwide community and different parts of Microsoft. So there's obviously some parts that I can't share with other teams, but there are some that I've incorporated other sections. So I'm going to start by creating a team. To do that, down the bottom, you'll find join or create a team. I'm going to start by creating a team. Now, because I've already got my team chat, I'm going to create one from new I'm going to build a team from scratch rather than an existing team. So I'm going to build a private team. Now within Teams, you can have public or private teams depending on your business organization, but you can create a private team and that's probably where I'd start. So let's just go Project Alpha. I can add a description of what this is included and I'm going to click on create. So this is going to create the team and the SharePoint right now. This does take a little bit of time. Just talking on that, as we're all aware, Microsoft SharePoint is an online database, an online space where you can have a database and share information. Teams is a really nice, clean front of what a SharePoint can look for. There's a lot of people within Microsoft, and I'm included in that. I don't know how to create a SharePoint account, but I know how to create a team. And it's funny how if you think about it that way. So next part is to add members. So I'm just going to add Megan as she's my right-hand person for this particular one. I'm going to add her and then I'm going to leave it there because I can always add people afterwards. I have the authority to create her, to have her as a member or as an owner of a team. Now it's important to confirm each person, whether they're an owner or a member, because at the end they'll have different rights, and I'm going to show you that now. I'm going to make her an owner. That's just going to quickly save. And then I'm going to click on close. And here we have our Project Alpha. I'm just going to quickly, I can hide these ones so then we're not getting distracted by anything else. Project Alpha. Now, all teams start with, all teams have different channels. You always start with the general channel. And as you can see at the top here, we've got files, wiki, and the plus icon where we're familiar with, and we have our post. Now, think of the post as your feed, sharing information, having a conversation, just communicating with your team about specific things. Depends on how you want to set up the team, but there's always going to be a general channel, but you can add additional channels. So on the top here, we've got our tabs, and on the left-hand side here, underneath Project Alpha, we have our channel. Now, if I want to create a new channel, if I click on the three dots or the ellipse, I can manage team, add channel, add members, leave, edit team, and I've got heaps of customization through here. Now, as I did mention, I'm going to set up some rules and responsibilities. If I hover over the PA symbol here, which is Project Alpha, I can click on the settings, and this will take me through to settings. Here, I can customize it by adding a team picture, and the members' permissions. So here is where I have control over whether they can delete or restore channels. They can create private channels. This is members, not owners. Owners have all rights. Whether they can upload custom apps, they can create an update or remove connectors and other things from there. Guest permissions. Now, we're all aware that we may also work with people external to our business. They may not have maybe they may not have a Microsoft account. You can actually add guests to your team's channel, all depending on your license and your agreements and your policies that are set up in the background. And that will go for another team's conversation, or definitely speak to your IT team to make sure that they are aware of what permissions are needed to be turned on to allow guests access or external people. Now here we have not ticked any box because they're only guests. They should only be able to view the information. We've got app mentions. As I showed you there before, I can at somebody, and to get them their attention, they'll be notified and there will be a call to action against that particular one. I want to make sure that everybody can do that. And then obviously the fun stuff, whether we want to add Giphy, like GIFs, emojis, stickers, those sort of things from there, as well as choose who can add tags, owners only. Now, for instance, from an education perspective, what I can do as a teacher, I can set up this team for that particular class. Day one of that class, I can go to everybody, all right, everybody, I want you to join my class team. Rather than adding everybody in and everybody has the notification, day one, I can set up a team code. So if I generate that code, all it's going to do, as you can see here, is give me a specific code. Now, if I was to go into Megan, I've already added her, but I could go join team, join by code, add that code in there, and join team automatically. That's a really good way of adding people quickly. If not, I can add more people by clicking the go to members, and then I can add members. So here I'm going to add Adele, and I'm going to add Alan, and it was Lydia, and click on add. Now they're all going to be added as members. Obviously, because I'm not logged into their accounts, it's just going to click on retry. But if your account was turned on and live, then you'd go from here. Okay, so now that's about setting up and making sure all the right permissions are available for those people that you're adding. Next, we're going to add some additional channels. So to do that, I'm going to click on the three dots once again, clicking on add channel. Now, this is where you can do the brainstorming as what sections of this project do we need? Do we need a marketing team? Clicking on add. Now I can add this as a standard or a private channel. Now this is really important to understand that you can actually create a team. You can have it public for your employees that you work with, and you can add those members to that particular team. As a team owner, I can create standard channels where everybody within that team who I've invited to has access. Or if I create a private channel, I can invite specific team members in that team to that specific channel. And it's locked to only those people where they can communicate and share private information or confidential information that's not used for the greater team. And I can have that in that safe space rather than having a separate team for those particular team members and that particular conversation. So that's really important to understand. This particular one, I'm going to keep it as a standard so that everybody knows what's going on with marketing. I can click the box where they automatically show this channel in everyone's channel list. I'll click that anyway and clicking on add. Now you can only add one channel at a time. So this part here, depending on how large you want your team to be, a good amount of channels is anywhere between 3 to 7, I would assume. But if you've got a big project that takes maybe 6 to 12 to 18 months in length, then you would probably see that your channels will be extending that specific number. Now I'm going to add one more channel, and this channel is going to be private. It's going to be the finance channel, and it's going to be private. Now, if I click on next, this is going to add the channel. and it's going to ask me for specific members. I'm just going to add Megan for this one. Click on add, and once that's added, I'm going to click on done. Now, she's only a member, not an owner of that particular channel. She may be an owner of the team, but she may not be an owner of that particular channel. So some important rights to have there. And now, as you can see here, they're all alphabetized, apart from general, because general is always the first one. But as you can see here, you've got a little lock here. That means that it's a privately locked channel. Now, I, as the creator of that particular channel, have access to it. And switching to Megan now, you'll see that if we go to her team, I'm just going to hide these ones as well, that she has access to the finance one. And that's the channel. Now I can open the people pane. As a member, she can see who's included with this. If I switch back to mine and I click on the same one, I can add additional members down the bottom here. So I've given her access to this particular channel, and then she can add things in here. She can, add maybe an Excel budgeting spreadsheet. She can add maybe a OneNote, those sort of things directly to this particular channel, but she can't add other members that she thinks. This is where we can have a conversation in here and say, I really think Lydia should be part of this particular channel. She's got some really good skills set. How about we add her later? And then I can make that choice, or Alex can make that choice whether to add that particular person. So if we're thinking about marketing, I'm going to go down into this particular tab. Now here, this is where you can have conversations. Down the bottom here, we can have conversations and say, I can at Lydia. She has not accepted, so I'm just going to at Megan. If I can type her name. Can you please update everyone? Now, I've mentioned this. Now, previously in our chat function, you'll see that it's just a continuous thread of conversation. In Teams, it's a little bit different where we have our feed of information. It's always what's the newest is at the bottom. Now, what we see, and Microsoft were a little bit a common mistake to make, especially for those people starting new with Microsoft Teams, is the fact that we have reply here and then starting a new conversation. We see a lot of people where they'll see the conversation just here, and as you can see, they can't see reply. They'll click on start new conversation, and then they will reply directly to their comment, but it will be starting a new conversation thread. So it's really important and best practice that we make sure that we click on the reply button. So switching back to Megan now, I can see that I've got a notification in here. I click on reply, and I say, I sure will at Alex. I will set up a meeting with everyone. Smiley face. And now we can see, going back to Alex, that Megan has replied to that rather than starting a new conversation. And that will make sure that the conversation that you're having about what the thread conversation was started with continues and flows on that. Now, very familiar what we can see here. We can add rich format. We can add attachments. We can add smiley face, GIFs, stickers. I can actually meet now, meaning that exactly what was in the top right-hand corner in the conversation, I can actually have a meet now, which will call Alex and Megan right away, and we can have a conversation about it. You'll also see that we've got praise there as well. So within this marketing conversation, Microsoft are all about open communication and maybe keeping minutes of those particular meetings. And what better way to do that is with OneNote. Now, we're all maybe very familiar with OneNote. I hope we all are. It's been around for a long time. Now, you may be aware that we've moved away from the 2016 version. I know we've recently made an announcement that it's still continuing on for those who really enjoy the program. But we have a rich application built in and available on any application store on Apple, Android, and Windows. And this is the application that's built into Teams. Now, if I click on the plus sign, very familiar to what we had in the chat feature where I can add in a OneNote. Now, I'm going to do this and I'm going to create it directly through Teams. This is a great habit to get into, because rather than sharing a OneNote that I own, and then I can add it to this particular team and then still give everybody access to it. But what would happen if I left the business or left that particular project? That OneNote, as I'm the owner with it, leaves with me. So if you're creating a OneNote directly into Teams, this gives the ability for that OneNote to stay there, and everybody who's involved with this particular team and channel has access to it and will continue to have access to it even after you leave this particular team. So I'm going to create a new notebook and call it Project Alpha Marketing Notebook. Here on Save. And this is going to create another tab built into this OneNote channel. It's going to set it up. And as you can see here, is a whole new tab. So we're adding another one. And this is a rich OneNote experience where I can add additional. I'm just going to make this a little bit larger, as you were aware that Teams is in one space, one pane of glass, one view, but it can be a little bit restrictive depending on your screen size. I'm working on a 14-inch laptop here. If I click on the Expand tab, as you can see, it removes that panel on the left-hand side. And this is where I can add additional sections and pages, and then I can have this here. Once again, Immersive Reader, our accessibility tool built into this, is in our OneNote feature from here. Now, also, if you want to move away from Teams and take out the full advantage of the application or your own OneNote, as we have here, we've got open in OneNote or online. And it's completely up to you on how you want to do that. I personally am favoritism for both, but it's all about how you work. Now, you may see this little chat function from here. What we can, if I click on here, this will open out a separate chat against this particular OneNote. So maybe we're in that particular meeting and the meeting is live against this OneNote, or maybe it's a PowerPoint presentation, that Excel file, or another application or program. You can now have another rich chat environment directly in through here. And I'm just going to close that one through here. Now, very familiar is our going back to posts, and then I'm going to click on files. So as I mentioned before, Teams is backed on from a SharePoint. Now, we may all be familiar with a SharePoint. Just going to make sure that this is going to load for me. Here we go. Okay, so that OneNote is automatically saved here. Now I can open this as a SharePoint, or I can create very familiar experiences across this. If you're familiar with SharePoint Online, or if you're familiar with OneDrive, I can create folders, Word documents, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and Microsoft Forms for Excel. So maybe if I want to organize this particular one, I can click on new folders and I can do marketing assets, click on create. I can do and continue creating folders through here. And then I can click in here, I can add in. Now we're all familiar with drag and drop. If you have files that are on your particular PC, you can drag those PCs and drag them straight into here. It says drag files. Bit of a tip with this one, I would probably maximize it at 10 documents at once, and then wait for those to all sync and upload, and then add the additional documents until everything has been uploaded to your liking. Now, at any time you can download, you can sync, copy, or upload from here. If I just go back to marketing, you may see that we can also add cloud storage. So if you're familiar with additional cloud storage, we've got SharePoint as well as Google Drive. We are aware that not all of our customers or clients have Google OneDrive, so we also support our third-party or our competitors as well. I can actually organize this from lists, compact lists, tiles, all documents, save view, edit current view exactly from here. If I want a bigger view, I can actually open this directly in SharePoint, which is extremely important depending on the view that you're more familiar with. For me, myself, it's definitely in Teams. But for you or your customers, SharePoint may be something that they're more familiar with. So that's a little bit about Microsoft Teams and how to add that up. I know I'm just conscious of time. We've got about 10 minutes left. Andrew, are you cool if I go for another 4 or 5 minutes?
Yep, that's all good.
Fantastic. All right, so let's switch it up and let's go to our calendar. So as we can see here, we have our calendar. I've got my Outlook open here as well. What I can do is I can just open my Outlook and I can click on my calendar. And as we can see here, this is a very familiar experience across the two. So I can still work and know what's coming up all within Teams. I haven't left Teams and everything's integrated into this. So if I want to see my working calendar as we're going through this particular one, maybe if I've got a new appointment, I can click on Meet Now and this will create a new meeting and then I can add people into that meeting, or I can add a new meeting and I can set up my scheduling assistant with everybody that I want to. So if I can do, like, let's go Project Alpha team meeting. Here, what I can do is I can add the particular channel. So if I'm going to click on Project Alpha, and then I'm going to click on the marketing one through here, and I can have it as a reoccurring meeting. I can have it weekly, starting tomorrow. Actually, let's start it on a Thursday, and we're going to have it from not PM. Let's go from 10:30 till 11:30. Occurs every Tuesday on the 4th and the 9th. Add location. If I've got my meeting rooms specifically integrated into Teams, depending on how your service is set up, I can add those particular ones in there. And then we've got the rich meeting. So if I want to add in Megan, so on and so forth, I can actually see her scheduling assistant, whether this makes her available. And as I can see, she is available. She's under green. I can add optional people. Maybe we're 4 weeks into this particular project and we want to add somebody in. Maybe they've want to share some insights and some market research. Then we can add that particular person into that one there. And I'm just going to send this out as I'm happy with this. And we'll see. Great. Always the power of live demoing. I can edit this view for the day, the work week, or the full week if I wanted to. So as you can see here, I've now got my Saturday and my Sunday. Fantastic. All right, so I'm just going to switch gears and continue back to this particular call. To do that, as we can see, if I hover over the Teams application, I've got what I'm sharing and then back to the particular call. So I'm going to click on here and then click on here again. So some Teams functionality that what we've got, you can see me. I'm in the little window on the bottom right-hand corner here. If at any time, if I want to remove my camera, all I need to do is click on camera off, and that will remove my camera functionality. I can also mute myself. I can share my screen. So if I stop sharing or if I start resharing, I can share my actual screen. For what I've done today, this is great. But if I wanted to share a specific, maybe I've got a couple of monitors, I want to share a specific monitor, but not interrupt my team itself, then I can do that. Also, if I wanted to share maybe a PowerPoint presentation that I've been working on, I can share that whole document and it will cache within Teams. The people who are attending that particular meeting can actually work through those particular slides and actually go back to the slide that I'm currently presenting. Some additional features now, as Andrew said before, there's some AI integrated into here. So I can actually blur my background. And as you can see, it is actually blurring the bookcase in my background. And it's also smart enough to recognize that I've got my hands here as well. Coming soon, there are some more features to this where I can actually, it puts another background in the back there. So maybe if I'm at the beach, I could actually share that I'm at the office in the background. if I'm joining a meeting and maybe I am wanting to see if my headsets are working, I can see my audio device. Maybe if I've got a custom setup, maybe I've got a webcam and I've got a podcasting microphone, I can edit those particular features from there to make sure that it's all working. I can see how loud that I'm actually talking. Maybe I'm talking not loud enough, or maybe I'm talking too loud, and I can see my microphone working from here, as well as my HP full HD camera. I can also see the meeting details. That's going to come up through here, maybe who's joining, who sent it to me, that sort of information. Now, importantly, I can also see the conversation that we're having. I can look at the meeting chat to see if there's any chats or any questions. I can see there that people have come in and they've left, which is perfectly fine. And I can also see participants. Now, a really good one for those of you who, if you're conducting a webinar, exactly what we're doing here. If you've got that one person who's brand new to Teams and they do not know how to mute themselves, we've got this great button on the top here called Mute All. This gives me a lot of power and control to mute everybody, meaning that I'm not going to get any interruptions or any background noise to go from there. And I've got one more thing to cover off, which is just up the top here underneath my profile. I can see that I'm presenting, so very familiar to what we have from Skype for Business. Now, if you have customers that are moving away from Skype for Business and into Teams, I hope you can see this if I go into settings. We have this great button just here, Register Teams as the chat app for Office, requires a restart for Office applications. If you have a customer who is solely Skype for Business and they want to move, them to move to Microsoft Teams, make sure they go into here and click on this button, and this will move everything from Skype for Business directly into Microsoft Teams as a chat functionality. Rather than having multiple tabs open up in chat, you can, if they are messaging you from Skype for Business, you will get that conversation in Teams chat. We also have accessibility through themes. You can manage your privacy, notifications, devices. A really good one if you want to test a call, you can do that right here, and your different permissions of what you give Teams to do. And I'm going to leave it right there, and I'll pass it back to Andrew to finish us off and close us out. But thank you so much for having me today. If you have any questions, feel free to chuck them in the chat box, and I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Thanks, Darren. That was great. I always seem to learn something new every time I have a sort of Teams demo. There's always a little feature that I'm not quite aware of, or I don't use, or I'll start using it. So we'll have some time for Q&A in a few moments, so start thinking of your questions. But first, I wanted to quickly talk about the 2 new offerings as part of the Modern Workplace Accelerate program. If you're not yet a part of the program, you can sign up at microsoft.ingrammicrocloud.com/modernworkplace or MW, or feel free to reach out to myself or your cloud account manager. AvePoint and Ingram Micro have teamed up and are now offering free migrations to Office 365. So combine this with a free E1 license and it's a no-brainer for your customers to move. We are now also offering free 30 days for new Modern Workplace seats. So this includes Office 365 Business Premium and all the Microsoft 365 licenses. So once again, thank you everyone for taking the time to join this webinar this morning. My details can be found at the bottom there if you have any questions that you want to take offline. Otherwise, we have some time now for Darren and I to answer any questions you might have.
Sammy, there is a question from Sam Di Bartolo in the chat there, which I have the same question to be honest with you.
Sure, go ahead.
It's in the chat. Can you see the chat, the meeting chat? There's a question there.
I'm just trying to find it.
Sam, was it, can you have more than 4 tiles when conferencing with people?
Ah, cool. Okay, so I've just answered that one from Sam. At this stage, at the moment, we can only see 4 people in the pane unless someone is sharing. If someone is sharing, as you can see from here, I know I can see myself, so I can always see my camera view, and then I can see 3 other people. I know Microsoft at this stage only have the availability for this, but in the back end, they are working to expand this feature. But at this stage, it's only in development. So hopefully, and it will get pushed out relatively soon, but at this stage, it's only a maximum of 4 people on the screen at one time. This will also rotate around. If you've got maybe 8 or 12 people on it, it will go from the 4 most recent microphones that have made a noise. So for instance, at the moment, it's me and Andrew, and then obviously yourself, Sam, and Glenn, who have made a noise recently. For me, that it comes up, but that changes from everybody's view as well.
I've seen some screenshots of the mini panels in Teams, so I think it's close to coming out, but not quite there.
Yep. One other thing I forgot to mention as well, with Teams chat, there's a preview feature that's within Microsoft we have available where you can actually pop out that chat function. Very familiar for those people who are using Skype for Business, where you can have multiple chats open across your screen at one time, rather than switching between the Teams chats in the hub there.
That would be really good.
Yeah, that's definitely one that I take advantage of.
We got one more question. Do you know if Teams can be used on a remote desktop server?
Ooh, that is a very good question. I am not able to answer that one, but I'm more than happy to take that offline, and I can work with you, Andrew, to get an answer to them.
Yeah, I imagine in a VDI environment, you could probably have it on the separate computers, but maybe not on the server itself. But we'll reach out and we'll get a confirmation for you.
Yeah, definitely. Internally, Teams is very strong. We are finding pain points in is communicating with external contacts, i.e. contracts, showing as offline initially to share files, etc. It's a good question. Yeah, I think for those people who if you invite them to a chat and share files that way, as soon as you invite them, they will need to click on the chat for them to be brought into it. And same with a team. You can invite people to a team, and they theoretically should automatically be to be invited to that particular one.
Jared, it could also be the policy set on the tenant for you guys, whether you're allowed to communicate with external contacts. We had a little bit of trouble initially as well, but now it seems to have opened up for everyone, and we can add external people and talk to them and whatnot. I have a few partners who like to ping me every day, ask me little questions. So it's really, really useful.
Yeah, I get that as well. You will also find if you have people who are external to your business, depending on the policy, I do find that for me, within Microsoft, comes up as a Skype for Business thing, and I'm not able to share files or add additional tabs within that chat. It's solely a chat conversation. That's all it is. It's a very limited feature for people who are external.
Just a quick question, if I may.
Yep, go ahead.
Sure.
Sorry, for some reason the chat button is either not available or I can't find it. But the question is, you know how when you invite someone outside of your organization and they want to join a meeting, if they're using a PC, it gives them a browser join via the browser option. But if they are trying to join it via mobile phone, whether it's iPhone or Android based, can they join it via the browser as well?
I believe so. I personally haven't tested this, so I can't guarantee yes, but I believe so. It should be a very similar experience across mobile. It's just going through the web browser. Depending on the browser that you're using, like Safari or Chrome or Edge browser as well, that should work perfectly fine. But I will test this and I'll get an answer directly to you.
Yeah, great question, actually.
Thank you. And one other question, sorry. So in the beginning of the presentation, you were talking about different plans and E1 and all that. Most of my clients fit into small businesses, and they are using Business Premium or Essential plan.
Mm-hmm.
So in their case, they are ready to use Teams.
Yep. So Teams comes with every license that has a SharePoint license, I believe. So all the way from Business Essentials to your Microsoft 365s.
Cool. Thank you.
We just had a question from Brendan as well. I'm just going to quickly share my screen for this particular one. As we see here, we're in the meeting. If I go to my conversation, if I go to the next panel here to show participants, up at the top here, I can invite someone or dial someone. For instance, if I want to invite Megan, I can click on Megan, and that should automatically start calling them. If I switch into Megan's web browser, as you can see here, Alex Wilbur has invited me. So I'm just going to cancel that one just for this purpose. But that is a really quick way to dynamically invite someone directly to the meeting.
So I normally use that when I'm having a conversation with someone. I'll be like, maybe this person will know. We'll see if they're available, check their status, and then give them a call.
It's a really good one to do that. I hope that answered your question there, Brendan. What is the best practice to stop Teams channels and tabs becoming unmanageable? I think, Carlos, with your question, it all depends on the owner and manager of that particular team. And it's great to set up some rules about what channels that you're going to be starting, where those conversations will be had within those particular channels, and break those channels up into individual tabs across there as well. It does take a little bit of getting used to, and I definitely recommend to practice how this sets up for how you work and how your team works. But I would say try and incorporate as many tabs into one channel and have those conversations flow within that one channel to minimize how big that particular team does become. Hopefully that has helped.
I think also as their IT provider, you really want to sit down with the customer and say, what do you want to achieve out of this? What's your different departments, and how can we set them up in a way that streamlines it for you? And then piloting it with certain groups and putting the ownership on them to keep it tidy and keep it manageable.
Yep. And just the last question from Mark, is there a way to delete a post in Teams? Yes, there is. If I, once again, click on the three dots, I can click on, I'm in Megan, sorry. If I click on Megan, I can click on delete from here, and then that'll remove, but everyone will be notified that this message has been deleted. I can undo this, and then I'll reinstate it from there. But once again, if I'm only a member of this, I'll have, the owner can actually give me permissions whether I can actually delete a message, or whether everything that I input is deleted or not deleted, or being able to edit or delete.
Sorry, Alex, can I throw one last question in there? You must throw your question out, but...
Go for it.
So if I started a meeting with external people outside of my organization, I noticed that meeting and that chat or whatever goes on stays in the chat section.
It does, yeah.
Now, if I wanted to then bring that chat and want to make them as part of one of the teams, can I do that?
You're not able, from what I understand, you're not able to turn a chat into a team. You would have to continue the conversation from the chat into a particular team. That's to my understanding. They are still separate.
Because you converted a chat into a team, which was quite a clever idea, but I don't know whether I can do that with people who are outside of my org.
That'll depend on your group policies that you have within your own IT, as well as the Teams services. And
I definitely have teams set up with external people. Yeah, different organizations, and then you can have meetings from there, and the meetings will be part of that team.
Okay, cool. Thanks very much.
No worries.
And Mark, yeah, that's correct. You can only delete your own, not others. Cool.
I just want to put a question back to everyone else. Is there any content that you would like us to cover in maybe a next session? Do you want us to dive a little bit deeper into maybe the different policies or the different security features that you can integrate with Teams, just as an idea? Or is there anything that you guys are particularly after?
I think digging deep into the policies would be a good one. More IT type of stuff, the back end setup and that.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Security will be great, and collaboration with external.
So how to set up those policies with how to add an external member. Good point.
Yeah, it would be interesting to look at some of the information protection and data loss protection policies as well, how they might be able to apply to a Teams chat.
Yeah, very true.
Great. Well, we did go a little bit overboard, but I think it was really worthwhile, and we got a lot of good questions. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for taking the time. Again, my details, I think I'm still sharing. I'll quickly share that again. My details are here. If you do have any questions you want to take offline, and we can put you in touch with Darren as well, not Alex. So
Yeah.
thank you again for joining, and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.